Box and whisker plot. Let's do another one. We have heart rates of randomly chosen females and males taken from a large group of college students. We want to find our 5-number summary. So I do want you to go ahead and input this data. I will do so in real time quietly. Once you've input your data, you now need to go do your analysis. It's okay if it goes in C. I just always put it in B, but it just means it'll be one thing over, which is fine. I think it was accidentally clicking on something with my mouse, so that's what the glitch was. Okay, 5-number summaries. So I'm going to do minimum, quadrant 1. I'm going to say quadrant 2 just because it's easier to put into a table. That really just means your median, quadrant 3, and then your maximum. And then we're going to do it for females and males. Females for me is on this guy. I'm going to scroll down till I get my information. So we've got 52, 60, 69, 78, and 90. All right, so this is your 5-number series. We first want to find the range and the interquartile range for each of those. Remember, your range is your full spread of the data, whereas your interquartile range is the 50% that's centralized in your data. So it's 25% on either side of your median, which is quadrant 3 minus quadrant 1. Okay, so female versus male, range versus interquartile range. Female is from 52 to 90, so that is 38, whereas male is from 40 to 100, which is 60, so that's a significant difference in range, whereas the interquartile range is going to be between 60 and 78, so 18, and 64 and 80, which is 16. So notice here that their range is much different. They have a much further, males have a much larger range of heart rates, whereas their interquartile range, where the central tendency of their data is much more close. 18 and 16 are relatively close in terms of interquartile range. We're going to draw a box and whisker plot for each of them. We need to make sure to have our units of measurement at the bottom. It can be about as precise as you want. Oh no. Not my best work, but it will do. All right, and we have female versus male. We'll put female up top and male at the bottom. All right, so with male, we start at 40, we go all the way to 100, 70.5, which is really close to 70, 64, which is pretty close to 65, and then 80. Go ahead and draw yours for the female as well, starting at 52, which is about halfway between 50 and 55, maybe slightly under. 90, 69, which is just under 70, 60, and 78, which is about halfway between 75 and 80. So this idea of the range being much smaller for females than it is for males, you can see it represented again in this box and whisker plot. But you can see that their interquartile range has about the same size. So it says compare the two sets. I would like for you to write something. I will not write something. I'm just going to talk and gather or write down information that you think is going to be important. You should mention that the range is different, but the interquartile range is relatively the same. The reason why this might be is because your range is very much affected by outliers, whereas your interquartile range is less affected by outliers because it starts to chunk off all the extremes that are happening and then say, okay, well then, but in reality, 25% of your data is lying on either side here. So your interquartile range is a more accurate representation of what's going on. Although it is good to see that there can be the extremes all the way down to 40 and all the way up to 100 for males. But it also then suggests, maybe it can also be that way for female, and just this test didn't happen to capture that data. So saying that their range is different, but their interquartile range is pretty much the same. Mentioning that outliers can really affect range. Just realize if you got rid of 100 up here, so if you got rid of one number, your next largest number is 89, which already brings it pretty close to what the max is, 90 for females. So just getting rid of 1 point of data already takes your range down by 10. So outliers really do have a huge effect on what you're seeing, which is why we really, for the most part, care about your interquartile range. Okay, that is all that I want you to be responsible for today. I want you to be responsible for how to find your five number summary, how to draw it in what we call a box and whisker plot. On your x-axis will always be these numbers that are within the table, and then how to draw in a line which one is box and which one is a whisker. Yeah, and I'll see you tomorrow or in 2 days.